This is Anime Love. Sorry I kept you guys waiting for another video. We are going to talk about the movie Horrible Bosses 2. Now, you guys are probably wondering why we're talking about number 2 and not number 1 first, and that's just because I recently watched number 2. Although both of them are really good, I feel like number 2 just kind of inches by number 1. It's just a little bit better, a little bit more excitement going on, but both of them are really good. But today we're going to talk about Horrible Bosses 2. Horrible Bosses 2 brings back Jason Sudeikis as Kurt Buckman, Jason Bateman as Nick Hendricks, and Charlie Day as Dale Arbus. I want to start off by saying, guys, that this trio here, they work so well together. I don't know if they're like really good friends prior to the Horrible Bosses franchise. I don't know if now that they've made the movies that they're really good friends, but even if they don't, when they get on set together, they work so well together. They are hilarious. They have really good chemistry. It's just really enjoyable to watch, those three. So this movie is also starring Jennifer Aniston still. She plays Julia, Dale's ex-boss from Horrible Bosses 1. And it also has Kevin Spacey still, who played David Harkin in Horrible Bosses 1. So their ex-bosses, they come back. I like how they're still involved. It also still has Jamie Foxx as Dean Motherfucker Jones. Jamie Foxx, again, honestly, I know I kind of just elaborate on the trio, but Jamie Foxx is that fourth wheel that really brings it together. You think like, oh man, it can't get any better than this when all three of them are on there. But when they put Jamie Foxx in the mix, oh my God, those four are hilarious. Jamie Foxx does a really good job. And you know, one thing I like to comment on is for this movie, they put a lot of tattoos on Jamie Foxx's head. And to be honest with you, it looks really good. I know he does have a real tattoo in the back of his head, if I'm not mistaken. I think, because I know that he's kind of having a hair loss issue, and I think he kind of does like the fake hair thing going on. Maybe he should consider just, again, going bald, because he has a good head shape for being bald. I've seen him bald before, other than this movie, and he has a good head shape for it. He still looks good with it, and shit, if he gets those tattoos done in real life, Jamie Foxx should consider that. I think that'd be really cool. Probably be hard for him to play in a lot of movies though, right? Alright, this movie also stars the new antagonists. Chris Pine as Rex Hansen and Christoph Waltz as Bert Hansen. Again, I don't know how they go about picking these characters for the movie, but they just work so well together. Now, granted, the cast is extremely talented, so maybe it's just the fact that they're talented. Christoph Waltz is very underrated. He's played in Inglourious Bastards, did a phenomenal job. He's played in Django, did a phenomenal job. And the guy is very intelligent. I think he speaks like 5 different languages, so really cool guy. But him and Chris Pine, they're the Hansens, and they have a really selfish but interesting relationship. And again, they work really well together. They're hilarious. They kind of roll off of the three really well. It's very enjoyable. One scenario I'd really like to point out is in this scene, there becomes a conflict between the 5. Rex Hansen, Bert Hansen, Dale, Nick, and Kurt. At the conclusion of this scene, Rex and Bert, they still take the cake and balloons that Nick, Dale, and Kurt had brought for them when they really shouldn't have taken it.
Surprise! And we got you a little cake. It says, thanks for believing in us. And then some balloons, of course.
We're the us.
Don't need it.
I got it. Hey, listen, bucko. You don't want to make enemies out of us.
I make new enemies every day. It's called business. Thank you, gentlemen, for stopping by. Have a lovely day.
Rex, get the cake.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about Jennifer Aniston as Julia. Jennifer Aniston is doing a really good job in this franchise. She's really funny. Not only is she really funny, but she's definitely doing her job really well as kind of being a sex addict and very aggressive and sexy. She does a really good job at that. And then Kevin Spacey, again, they brought him back. Even though he is behind bars, Kevin Spacey still has a major role to play. In a way, he's even kind of taken on he's kind of like the fifth wheel now. You know, they had the three, Dale, Nick, and Kurt. Then they brought in motherfucker Jones, Jamie Foxx. He was the fourth wheel. And it almost seems like now Kevin Spacey or David Harkin is the fifth wheel. Like, now it's like they kind of keep building on it, and it's really cool. What I think would be really interesting, because I really hope they make Horrible Bosses 3. I mean, this is a very successful franchise so far. You would think that the plot for the second one would be like the same as the first one, right? Because, you know, the title of it is Horrible Bosses, so you would think that the concept or the plot would be the same. But the plot in Horrible Bosses 2 is completely different from the plot in Horrible Bosses 1, which was pleasantly surprising. I went into it thinking, oh man, they're gonna beat a dead horse with this, but they really didn't. So I hope they make a number 3, again, kind of with a different plot to kind of keep us guessing and keep us intrigued and so forth. But I think it would be very interesting if not only do they kind of keep the same idea going with bringing back characters from the past movies, but if they brought back Rex Hansen, Chris Pine's character, in number 3, kind of similar to the way they do Kevin Spacey's character, David Harkin. So it'd be really cool if they could kind of bring him back in the same fashion in which they brought back Kevin Spacey. So I'm really hoping they make a number 3. I haven't heard anything about them making a number 3, but again, it's a really successful franchise so far, so I hope they keep it going. So I guess ultimately you guys probably want to know what I would rate the movie. If I were to rate this comedy, Horrible Bosses 2, I would rate it a 9 out of 10. It's really difficult for anything to get a 10 with me. If you are wondering, hey, should I purchase this movie or not? Definitely. You most definitely got to add this and Horrible Bosses 1 to your collection. Yeah, so that's it for Horrible Bosses 2. Sorry if I missed any aspects of the movie. This is a spoiler-free review, so if you're interested in the movie, I would prefer if you kind of went into it still not really knowing what's going on. I also forgot to say that this movie was directed by Sean Anders. Sean Anders has also directed other movies such as Daddy's Home, That's My Boy, She's Out of My League, Hot Tub Time Machine, We're the Millers. Of course, he's directed other things too, but those are the most notable ones that actually have some substance to them. Really good movies there. So he has a decent track record. I'm not sure if he also directed number 1. I wouldn't mind if he came on for number 3. Or honestly, if he didn't direct number 1, whoever directed number 1, I wouldn't mind if they came on for number 3. All right, well, that's it for the day, and I hope you guys have a good one. And again, that is my review for Horrible Bosses 2. Bars. Bye.